In this module, we are going to discuss about VLOOKUP function. Now, VLOOKUP function is commonly used for data retrieval and analysis tasks. It lets you search for specific information in your spreadsheet. It's a quite handy function where most of the people who are using Excel, professional users, they want to use this function because you have data. You have data in the form of these tables. Now, here we have a very few number of data. But there could be such data like this employee information is there, right? Where it has the employee last name, first name, department, email, and extension. And it can be many other columns you can have and so many other rows. So it can be 500, 600 rows. Now you want to search for the employee record. The employee record, like for employee ID. So you want to have a form in one of your sheets. And in that form, you would enter your employee ID. Like you would say 13398 and say enter, and this data should immediately show up here. You change this to 14567 and that data should come. So you need to search for that record, right? So this record, so this value is called as a lookup value. If you look at the first parameter of your VLOOKUP function, that is what you would be looking up. So you would be searching for the employee record based on this employee ID. So this value which you are using to search for the record in this database or in this list or in this array is basically your lookup value. For the record in this database or in this list or in this array is basically your lookup value. Now once you find your data in that lookup value, and please remember also that in a VLOOKUP, if this is your data, then your value which you are trying to look up in this should be the leftmost column. So this should be employee ID. You can't use this data and search by last name. If you want to search by last name, then you please keep the last name on the left and move the employee ID here. So the last name should be the leftmost column. Now employee ID is the leftmost column. So my employee ID I can use to search for the record in VLOOKUP. We can't use any other column to search for the record since I have chosen this to be my data or this to be my table or this to be my array, whatever you call it. Table array is this array as we are discussing. So lookup value needs to be looked up in the leftmost column. We want to pick up that particular column which has unique values. Right. Normally employee ID is not duplicated. If it is duplicate values exist, then VLOOKUP will find out the only first value. It will not display the duplicate value. So it won't show you 3 or 4 records. It will only show you a single record. So the first employee ID by that number is found in this table. It will display that. So that you need to keep that in mind as well. So it's always a good idea that the column which you are looking for is basically unique. The column index is the once you have got the employee, search for it, which column you want to display, which column value you want to display. So if you want to display last name, you say I want to display the second column or the third column or the fourth column or the fifth column or the sixth column, depending on which column you are interested in. So first of all, you need to look up for this in the employee ID. Once you get it, then you need to specify which column data you're interested in. So you'll go to that column wise, search for that column number 2 or 3 and pick up this value and display it. And the fourth parameter is your lookup. Now that's an optional parameter. And if it is false, it means what? It is an exact match. But if it is true, it means an approximate match. Now what is approximate match? I'll come later. We will always go for false. That means exact match, right? We don't want to go for an approximate match right now. So let's see how it works. So here we have this employee ID 13398 and I want to find out the last name, first name and department for that employee. I have to use VLOOKUP and these are the parameters that I need to pass. So I'll go to this column, this cell and say VLOOKUP, or I can use my, function palette as well. So I can go to my insert formulas. Insert function and look for lookup and reference. If not, you can go to insert function, look for VLOOKUP, search for VLOOKUP and say go, and you get a VLOOKUP here and say okay. So this is my VLOOKUP which is shown here. What is the lookup value? Of course, the lookup value is this employee ID, and that I will make it fixed. Why? Because I want that when I drag this, it should not change, because that lookup value should always be this for all the rows or for all the data which I want to retrieve. So I'll say function F4, right? And then what is the table array? The table array is this one. So this is my table array, and that too also need to be fixed. So I'll use function F4 and I'll fix that as well. That table array should not change. Which is the column which I want to retrieve if I get that employee ID? If I get that employee ID in this column, I want to pick up the first column value because I want to display the last name here. So this is the first, this is the second. So I'll say number 2, column number 2. What kind of range lookup I want? I require false. As I told you, false means exact match. That's as simple as that. If you look at it very carefully, this is what I've done. It's very simple, and say okay. So it gets bent. Now if I drag this, I'll get bent all the way down. Why? Because I'm into the second column and asked to display second column. So this should be asking it to display the third column, because first name is in the third column. And this way, this is to be displayed in the fourth column. That's my department. Email is in the fifth column. And my extension is in the sixth column. So I got all the information now, right, for that value. Now if I want to get 17890, so this is the information, I'll just type here 17890 and say enter. And that is what you get. The 17890 gives you this. So VLOOKUP helps you in searching for this record in this table array, right, based on the employee ID, which is the leftmost column. Once it gets that employee ID, it then finds out the corresponding column value for that row and displays it here. And that is where VLOOKUP comes. Right now I can change this to a list, and then I can select the list and automatically the data would be changed. So how would I select the list? I'll select this cell, go to my data, go to my data validation, pick up list, source. I'll just drag this down, and that is my source of list for this cell. And I say okay, and there is this drop down I have. So it's cool, 18890, it's Isaac, and then I select this, and from here I can do whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I get these records very nicely. I'm able to search for this record. Now this is a very simple small record. Now if you can just extend this as big as you can pick up 500 rows, 700 rows, 1000 rows, 10,000 rows, 50,000 rows, whatever be the number of rows. You select the value and it automatically gives you the data. So it's very cool. It's a very, very handy function. It's used a lot in the corporate professional field.